Tevat's 3 moons and their goddesses were brought into being by the will of Nibelung, the then ruler of Tevat.
Eons ago, before the heavenly principles came to Tevat, it was the then 3 moon goddesses who controlled the laws of this world.
In that era, there was no boundary between life and death. Willpower flowed freely among countless beings.
The 3 goddesses split these powers amongst themselves, promising never to consolidate them into one singular body. This was meant to keep the world stable.
But when the heavenly principles came, they changed the world completely, down to its very foundations.
They say that when the first usurper arrived on Tevat, they seized a part of the dragon's power.
The moon goddesses were nowhere near strong enough to challenge this entity. But the heavenly principles did not view them as heretical entities that had to be removed. Essentially, the 3 moons existed to keep this planet alive and operational, which did not directly conflict with the heavenly principles' aims. Nevertheless, the inherent precariousness of this arrangement would soon be revealed.
Nibelung returned, yes.
He did, and thus began the War of Funerary Flame, a battle for dominance between Nibelung and the heavenly principles.
An unimaginable war took place in Tevat, causing destruction on an unprecedented scale. The world itself was on the verge of collapse.
The war between the gods and dragons plunged the world into chaos. Discord would soon emerge between the 3 moon sisters. One would voice the opinion that they should follow Nibelung, for it was he who first hung the moons in the sky. Another would argue that taking sides in the conflict would only bring the world closer to ruin. There was no telling where it would lead, especially since their creator had returned, bearing the perilous power of the abyss.
The Dragon King acquired the power of darkness from outside of this world. We all once believed in the distant past that only forbidden knowledge could give us enough power to defeat the heavenly principles, and led us in a fight against the order established by the outsiders.
Nibelung would eventually discover their disloyalty. He had all 3 imprisoned before transforming the moons into weapons with which to fight against the heavenly principles. The very moons that had once defended the planet became instruments of death and destruction, striking terror into the hearts of all living things. And although the heavenly principles and the 3 moon sisters had once been at peace, it now seemed that the moons posed an unacceptable threat to Tevat. It is possible that the heavenly principles did not know of the goddess's imprisonment. If so, the weaponization of the moons would surely have been viewed as an intentional breach of the peace agreement, regardless of who knew what when. The heavenly principles shattered 2 moons and flung the other beyond the skies.
I was stopped by the giant spike that fell from the sky. The era of the dragons was over.
Whether the goddesses managed to escape Nibelung's captivity after his fall, nobody knows. But this much is certain. From that day on, the moons no longer belonged to Tevat. The rejection slowly drained their power until eventually they passed away.
After the War of Funerary Flame, the moon goddesses were no longer recognized by Tevat. They lost the whole foundation for their existence. The moon goddesses did something to offend the heavenly principles, and that's why they were ousted. Something of a recurring theme in Tevat's history.
The heavenly principles have been silent for many years.
For 500 years now, ever since the cataclysm in Conria. There's been no sign of activity. And still, Celestia took no action. I suppose that's proof enough of the heavenly principles situation. However, the heavenly principles will awaken. We just don't know when that will be, or what might trigger it.